Oh, great. I see people coming in. That's wonderful. I'm just going to share my screen. Do you see that? Wonderful. I just can't, just so everyone knows, I can't see anything on Zoom when I'm sharing my screen. So, but otherwise we're good. But yeah, it's wonderful to see people coming in. Hypothetically, I'm sure you're all coming in. I can't see anything. So can you confirm, Marissa?
Yeah, it doesn't look like anybody's saying anything yet. The chat is available. It should be available if you want to type into the chat. You could type in your location, introduce yourself to us. And we'll just wait for a few more minutes to let people join before we get started.
Oh, Lizzie says the chat's disabled. Okay. I changed a setting. Did that work? Oh, I changed it again. Yeah.
Hey, it's working.
Wonderful. Okay, I think initially that's just a host and panelist. So if you change that setting to typing to everyone, then hopefully it will go to everyone. Nice. Okay, great. Always fun first day, making sure everything works. So thanks for bearing with us. Exciting to see so many people from Scotland specifically.
I feel like we're really representing today. Good job, guys.
Ooh, Helsinki. How cold is it there, Sita?
So for those of you who are just coming in, ooh, very cold, gloomy and super cold. So for those of you who are just coming in, we're just saying that we're just waiting a few minutes to let people join before we get started. So thanks to everyone for putting up with us trying to figure out all the technical logistics.
Yeah, no matter how many times you test things, something always changes the day of. So always fun. But yeah, thanks for your patience. Yes, as Annie said, when you're responding, make sure in the chat you can put it to everyone, and then yeah, everyone will see it versus hosts and panelists. Seems like a very UK group today. I'm sure that will also change as the time changes as well. We have a lot of attendees coming from North America as well. Oh, Alicia, good to see you. Representing Germany, so that's always good too. Wonderful. It's so wonderful to see everyone today. I think we can probably get started soon. But yeah, thank you all for joining from wherever you are. We have a Canadian too, or someone from Canada too, so that's wonderful. It's wonderful to see so many people join, some familiar faces from our previous events in 2021 and 2022, and so many new people to join 2023 as well. So welcome everyone. I'm Claudia Hopkins, pronouns she, her. I'm the founder of Magnify. And I'll talk a bit more about why I started it in the conference opener, but it's so wonderful to see you all today. Marissa, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes. Hi, I'm Marissa Cummings, she, they. I was a speaker in 2021, so I've been involved since the first conference, and I am one of the co-organizers this year.
Great. So for the conference opener, we just want to get everyone started and settled, and we're going to share a few things today to try to introduce the conference. So we'll first talk about our perspective, and that's more like the why and the mission behind Magnify. We're then going to talk about what Magnify is. We're going to introduce our team who have been helping behind the scenes to put all of this together. And then Marissa's going to take us through what we're doing this year and some of the logistics as well. And then we're also going to show you a video from team members and contributors. And then we'll end by watching the Hostile trailer to get you in the spirit of things. So to get started, our perspective. So many of us live in richly diverse societies, yet this diversity is often not reflected in the products, services, and systems offered because of barriers that are created through their design. So this is what we've observed as designers and researchers in the field, and we want to change that. And so for us, inclusive processes is about centering the voices of people from groups that have been marginalized by society and systems based on race, sexuality, gender, age, ability, class, and other things as well. So this is kind of why we're doing what we're doing and what we believe in. And then to understand how we would get there. So how would we get to a more equitable society? And we think that it requires 3 specific things. Marissa, do you want to talk to this?
Yep. So the first one is inclusive practices. So practices that shape an equitable and inclusive society through products, services, and systems. And this is kind of 2 sides. So first, I think we are talking about the ways in which research and design can be used to oppress. So this could be anything from harmful anthropological research, which exploits vulnerable people, or a bench, which stops people from sleeping outside. So a wide spectrum. And just acknowledging that a well-designed prison is still a prison. And it's the system which we are trying to change. Second, I think, is that many of our current knowledge around research-based activism, which is being used to kind of change things and push us forward, is built on knowledge of people of color. And we want to acknowledge that and kind of celebrate everything that has come before us, and to use our knowledge to build something better for the future. Want to go to the next slide, Claudia? We're very low key today. So next is inclusive workplaces and diverse workforces. So workplaces which are representative of the wider world and are supportive of many ways of being. So I think this is really about the fact that design is really still quite an elitist circle, that many designers and researchers still represent a very privileged group. And this is something that we want to kind of challenge through Magnify.
And I think that even if this is true, there's still a need to self-reflect and unlearn. So we need to understand the ways in which we are privileged and oppressed and adopt a learning mindset. So I think we often can represent a wide range of backgrounds, experience levels, and cultural viewpoints. And so even within that, we can be privileged and oppressed in different ways. So we need to understand what our positionality is within society, and use that to either help people who are oppressed in similar ways, or to also reflect on how we're different than other people and believe in their experiences and advocate for them as well. And so this is really important because, we need to both be aware of who we are, but also see what other people face and how we can make it better for others as well. To do this, I think it's really important, as I said, to understand oneself, and to learn about histories and contexts. So a lot of this stuff doesn't just live in a vacuum. You need to be able to understand how something comes from history, and even in different societies, this can change as well. So not every society is the same either. Another thing that I briefly touched on is believing other people. So I think in our field, we often talk about empathy, but I think sometimes what we see is when someone can't actually empathize with someone because their experience is so different, then they just don't believe them. And so I think over empathy, it's the ability to believe other people and their experiences, which is really important. So if we took into account these three things, so inclusive practices, inclusive workplaces, and a diverse workforce, and the ability for self-reflection and learning, that would then help us get to a more equitable society. But we can't do one of these and not the other to get there. So for example, even if you had an inclusive practice, but not a diverse workforce, we wouldn't get there in the long run. So we really believe that all three are really important for this work. So given that's like our perspective, what is Magnify? So it kind of started just before the slide. So the slide says is a timeline from 2020 to 2023. But in 2019, I moved to the UK from Canada, and I had a bit of a culture shock. Even though my parents are British and I was born here, it was still very different for me to come back as an adult. And I think some of that was just the way that people related to this topic was quite different across different contexts. And I think that's why understanding the society and the histories are really important. So I moved from Canada, and in Canada, I was really interested in inclusive design, and it seemed quite difficult to do that work here. What I noticed was in 2020, COVID happened. We saw the rise of the Black Lives Matter movement. And from these two things, I think with COVID and the rise in health inequities, people were starting to understand some of the problems more. And there seemed to be a bigger shift in the design community at that time. So based on that experience, I thought that what I needed was a way to connect with people and learn more about what they were doing. I saw lots of people doing amazing projects, really doing critical work in this space. But there was not many places where we could all come together, and that's what I wanted to create. So I decided to start Magnify, and by the time it got organized and it was ready to go, we were then going into this phase where it was like the new normal, and the questioning around that with COVID in 2021. And some people, when I spoke to them about it, they were really excited that we were keeping doing online events, and not everything was moving back to spaces in person. So that was really positive. 2021, Magnify 2021 was really amazing. I learned a lot from it. And I also learned what needed to change for myself. It was a lot to take on by myself. So in 2022, I ran different monthly events just to try to keep the community together. And it was really great to connect. That same year, Twitter died, and we've kind of lost some of the ways that we used to communicate, which was a challenge. And we've also seen that was the year that ChatGPT came about. So then when we got to 2023, I always had some people who were firm believers in Magnify ask me, like, are you bringing it back? One of those people being Marissa, one of them being Imran, who is on our organizing team. And so they always were like, will you bring it back? And I said, only if I have help. So this year, that's what changed. I was able to know what would be required this time. And the thing is like, it's been 3 years since I had the idea, but we still see the harmful consequences of technology and design today. So the example on the slide is the harmful consequences of AI being used in the UK government. So even though we're 3 years on, as technology shifts, we're still not that much further. And so that's why I think Magnify is still relevant and bringing people together again. I was a bit uncertain as well, like if people would still care about this topic, because it feels like we are 3 years away from a phase with COVID and Black Lives Matter where that shift started. But thank you all for coming. And I think this shows that people do care and we still care about changing our practices for the better. So yeah, I really appreciate everyone joining today and being a testament to this change. So Magnify's hope is offering a space away from corporate environments to discuss the realities of equity-seeking work. We bring together people from across sectors to share their experiences and learnings and to challenge and progress our current approaches. And so there is a movement right now for companies to run their own corporate conferences, but I think that can close down having these challenging conversations and talking about real issues within our industry. So for example, we have a talk this year about discrimination in the workplace, and I think that would be less likely to be shown at a corporate event. And so as a community organized conference, we're hoping to enable connection and opportunities for you to develop your practice in a supportive and open space. So yeah, hopefully this brings about the same kind of feelings as it did last time. I think we were all able to really grow as a community, and I hope that you find that this is what you feel in this conference. One of the important things is the code of conduct to enable that space. So during these times of crisis, we acknowledge that there might be stress that our community might be feeling, and we ask just to care for one another and reflect on certain things. So with our code of conduct, our dedication to inclusion is not stopping at design and research alone, and we're dedicated to ensure that our online space is harassment-free for all people. So we don't tolerate harassment of participants in any forms, and participants that are violating those rules may be taken out of the conference without refund at the discretion of the conference organizers. So if anything happens and you need to report something, feel free to message Marissa or I on Slack, or you can email our inbox at hello@magnifyconference.com. So yeah, just know that this is there and take time as well to read through it. It's listed on our website. So now we're going to introduce you to our team. So as I mentioned, we are community organized. So no one works for event as an event planner. We all just do this because we care about the reason why we're doing it, and we're really passionate. So I want to thank everyone on our team. So this is our team as a whole. So you've met myself and Marissa. Amala Anthony has been doing a ton of work. She did stuff on the UX design, sponsorship, and she's been helping me set up all the Zoom meetings. Imran, he's the ambassador and sponsorship. So we call him the ambassador because if you ever meet him in person, he'll probably tell you about Magnify. So he's really passionate, and he'll be hosting the Q&A with Sunita, so you'll get to meet him then. Claire Lee was creating the marketing and social media posts. So she created the strategy behind it and was constantly posting, which takes a lot of dedication. So we're really grateful for her. Alex Hall, he started doing marketing and content and moved into jack of all trades. He was helping a lot with the workshop coordination as well. Maria was working on visual and UI design, and so she's been doing the marketing as well and helped create the beautiful website. And then we have Clarissa Gardner, who did host coordination and wrote all the scripts. And then we had Kat Kilkenny doing web content early on, and will also be tech support with the workshop. And then Laura Halloran was doing community organizing. So when Marissa takes you through some of the coffee events that we had, Laura put that together, and Carlos was our accessibility specialist. So as you can tell, there were a lot of people behind the scenes helping to make this happen. So we're all really grateful for them. And yeah, they've done so much work to help support us. We also wouldn't be able to do this without our sponsors. I think before being an event organizer, I didn't really understand why this was so necessary. But really, we are giving honorariums to our speakers and workshop facilitators, and that wouldn't be possible without our sponsors. We also transcribe all of the videos and the recordings that speakers send in, which is another big cost. So we're really grateful to our four sponsors for helping us do this. Fable is an amazing accessibility company. So they have like a testing platform, and they'll also have a talk at the conference. So make sure you check that out. Our bronze sponsors is the Digital Health and Care Innovation Center, where Marissa works. So really grateful for their support. We also have MassTech, and they're an agency that does really important work, and Consent Kit, which is a research CRM, and they've also focused on inclusive design. So they released a blog post that we posted to our socials, and I really recommend you checking that out. So yes, really grateful for our sponsors and helping us get Magnify off the ground this year. We also had some people in the background with helping hands. So to make sure that the submission process is as unbiased as possible, we anonymize them and have people evaluate them. So thank you to everyone who did the evaluation panels, and also to those who bought pay it forward tickets so that we could offer sliding scale tickets to the community as well. Are you ready, Marissa?
Yeah, so I'll just be going through a little bit about what the conference will be like this year, our program. So if you go to the next slide, yeah. So here's our program. So you can view the program online. So there's a QR code, so I'll give you a minute to use that if you want, or you can go to this URL. It's www.magnifyconference.com/program. It's divided up by day, so each day is a different tab. So click through to the different tabs to see the full program, and there's also ways to add it into your calendar. So if you prefer to have the events set up in your calendar, you can easily do it that way. You can also book all of our workshops from this page as well. Okay, so unfortunately, Sunita is unwell today. So we're going to be rescheduling her session. So, which I'm extremely disappointed about because I was really looking forward to seeing it. So the Q&A session with Hostel documentary director Sunita, so Hostel is the name of her documentary. She is not Hostel. Will be rescheduled for another day. So we will be announcing in the Slack when that will be rescheduled for. So keep an eye on that. Later today, we also have Beyond the Terminology, the human and human-centered approaches with Sheetal Mistry, which will be starting at 7 p.m. GMT time. So remember to register in advance for any of our workshops. So again, you can do that from the program page. So just go there if you would like to register for anything. And I'll be running through quickly the rest of the program. So apologies in advance to everyone. I've given myself the hard task of having to read out everyone's names and event titles. So I'm very sorry about this. Okay, so Tuesday, we have building inclusive systems. So first is benchmarking accessibility at the co-op with Romain Chen, followed by exploring scalable research and inclusive design strategies with Lanre Jerry Ijishakin. And then we will have a workshop, so using participatory research methods to push the boundaries of inclusive design with Hanieh Khoshrow Shahi. On Wednesday, we'll be opening with a workshop, so how can we make design and research processes more inclusive, with Marian Avery and Kevin McLaughlin. And then we'll be going into our talks. So the theme for that day is community, looking beyond recruitment, working with trans and non-binary communities to build equity into national services with Faiza Perrine. Intergenerational Aid for Digital Inclusivity by Sita Lakshmanan. And then Punjabi-centered design, embracing transgressive liberation and fostering accessibility in healthcare and social welfare for the Punjabi communities by Imroz Singh Diol. Then Thursday, approaching sensitive topics. So we'll be kicking off with To Ask or Not to Ask About Sex by Mikol Artom, running trauma-informed user research to elevate the voices and experiences of people with sickle cell disease by Connie Van Zanten, co-designing self-identification for the Government of Canada by Andy Pittman. And then we'll have two workshops, bias mitigation practices for design researchers by Lucy Flores, and how to have tough conversations that advance inclusive design by Lydia Hooper. So that will be it for the end of the week. So we don't have any activities on Friday, and we've kind of spread things out. So there should be kind of roughly half days, and hopefully you don't feel pressured to have to attend all of these events because I know there's a lot. So just pick and choose the ones that you find the most interesting. So we will be returning on Monday, 13th of November, with the workplace inclusion theme. So starting us off will be Lizzie Casmaran with I Know You Can't Read This, Combating Accidental Exclusion in Your Presentations, followed by Navigating Discrimination at Work by Caitlin Devella, Ways to Create a More Inclusive and Considerate Hiring Process by Lauren Tormey, and then Being Neurodivergent in Design and Research Panels. That'd be three people, Chad Gowler, Claire Barrett, and Shannon Liu, to talk about their experiences. And then Tuesday, 14th of November, the theme is lived experience. So we have Whose Mind Is It Anyway? Empowering Young Neurodivergent People to Better Understand Themselves and Their Needs by Amy McGinnis and Kirsten Jack. Designing the Future of Culturally Sensitive Wellbeing by Tahira Rasalat. And then two workshops, Trauma-Informed Design, Lessons Learned from Researching with Citizens Through the COVID-19 Pandemic by Kate Every, and Brain Gain, Leveraging Neurodiversity for Inclusive Work Culture by Pazbi Zavatsky. And then Wednesday, 15th November, final day, shed a little tear. So first is the Whose Idea of Good, Developing Better Design Principles for Your Practice by Hannah Jump. That's a workshop. And then three talks. So first is How Do Deaf British Sign Language Users Experience Suspense in Film by Beth Evans and John Rhodes. Enchantment in the Method for Co-Creation with Children and Young People by Eloise Belladay. And then Inclusively Shifting Left with Assistive Technology Prototype Reviews by Alana Chapman. So that's the last day. So we'll be closing there. And then we'll, again, keep in mind that we will be announcing in the Slack when Sunita's session will be rescheduled for. So just keep an eye out for when that will be. And again, you can view all this online on the website. So for networking opportunities, so I think personally for me, one of the real strengths of Magnify is our community. We have such a really great, inclusive, supportive community. And that was one of the things that really drew me to Magnify in the beginning. So this year, we're going to be trying out some new things. So we have coffee socials, which are being held on 7th, 8th, and 14th of November. So you can join to kind of meet some fellow attendees and chat about the conference. So we'll be breaking people out into groups to kind of just get to know each other and just get a chance to connect and chat casually together. And then we also have the conference Slack. So this is a great way to connect. So we use it to post announcements about the conference, but also you can use it just to connect with people and just talk about what's happening. So some of our channels are, we've got Say Hello, which is just introducing yourself to the group. So if you've not got a chance to do that yet, join the Slack, say hello. People are already introducing themselves in there. So thank you to people who are just jumping in. Reflections, we'll be posting prompts in this channel as conversation starters, but also encouraging you to post about things that you found impactful, key learnings from the session. If you just can't bear for the Q&A after a session to end, then just head over there and talk about your thoughts. Hiring, if your organization or other people you know are hiring and you think it might be of interest to the people that are joining the conference, feel free to post in there. And then resources, if you have any helpful resources that you've made, used, found beneficial, post them in there for other people to draw from. And then conference logistics. So Slack is the best way to stay up to date and get support on everything that's happening at the conference. So conference announcements, stay up to date with when sessions are starting. And if workshop spots open up, that's where we'll be posting about where a Sunita session will be rescheduled. So keep an eye on that. And then conference help, if you have any questions, problems, send us a message. If technical problems, anything like that. And you can also, as Claudia mentioned earlier, you have any concerns about violations of the code of conduct, anything of that nature, then you can also DM us or use our email address, which is here. So if you need support but can't use the Slack, having trouble, anything like that, our email address is hello@magnifyconference.com. Okay, I think Claudia will be coming in now. Sorry, Claudia, you're muted.
Thank you. Thank you. Great. Thanks for that, Marissa. I know that was a lot to go through. So what we have next is a video with 5 people who either worked with us in creating the conference or have a session. So just to give you a bit more of a flavor of what's coming. Oh, actually, I need to reshare my screen to do this. Share sound. Okay, wonderful. And if you can't hear it, just let me know.
Hi, I'm John Rhodes. I'm one of the founders of a research and design company called Paper. At the Magnify conference this year, myself and Beth Evans will be doing a talk on a recent research project where we're looking at deaf people that use British Sign Language and how they experience suspense in film. We'll be sharing a background to the project, why we did it in the first place, how we tried to make the research as accessible as we could, along with the insights and recommendations from the work. We'll also be sharing the things that we should have known before the project started, in case you're doing a similar project, and it might make your lives a little bit easier. We'll be around after the talk for a Q&A, so if you do have any questions, we should be able to answer them there, and we'll hopefully see you there.
Hi, my name is Maria, and I'm a visual and UI designer. My pronouns are she, her. I joined the Magnify team a few months ago, and I've been helping with all things UI design and visuals for the social media posts. I joined Magnify because I care about inclusive and accessible design, and because I wanted to be part of the wonderful team behind the scenes.
Hi everyone, I'm Lauren Tormey. My pronouns are she, her. I'm giving a talk called Ways to Create a More Inclusive and Considerate Hiring Practice. I'm going to share how my team at the University of Edinburgh improved our recruitment practices to make them more inclusive. And that talk is on Monday the 13th. And I'm also looking forward to another talk on that day by Lizzie Casmoran on how to make more inclusive presentations. I used to work with Lizzie at the university, and she always has great insights to share. So the Monday talks are definitely one to schedule in your calendar. And another session I can't wait for is the Q&A later with Sunita Gale on her film about the UK's hostile environment policies. Having endured the horribleness of the UK immigration system myself, I urge you to learn more about the damage border policies do to people's lives if you're not already familiar with it. Immigration status is an area that can get easily overlooked, but it's so important to understand if you want to practice inclusive design. So I hope to see you at my talk and the rest of the conference.
Hi everyone, my name is Clarissa Gardner, my pronouns are she, her, and I've been helping with the organisation of Magnify this year. I joined Magnify last year and I found it a really inspiring conference, hearing from everyone who's working in the inclusive design space. And so I'm really looking forward to hearing what other work people have been up to this year around this topic.
Hi everybody, I'm Amy and I'm a service designer based in England, and I've been working with Uncommon. Uncommon provide positive, affirming support for young neurodivergent people and their families. And we also happen to be a neurodivergent team of designers and researchers, clinicians and peer supporters. Next week, Kirsten, Jack and I will be sharing on the journey that Uncommon have been on from early research through to the live service today. In the talk, we'll be covering how we've been centering the voices of neurodivergent families, how we've been combining lived experience with professional expertise, and also how we've been co-creating with young neurodivergent people. After the talk, we'll be available for questions and answers, and we really hope that you'll come along, join us, and ask any questions that you might have.
Wonderful. I think so I hope that kind of gives a preview of what's coming. I just wanted to mention one more thing about logistics of the conference. That is, for the Zoom links, we've done it based on theme, just so you don't have to navigate 18 Zoom links. So when you're joining sessions, look at on the program, it will say like community, and that will be the Zoom link for the whole session. Even if you're wanting to join one or two of them, maybe you can't join them all, but just so you're aware, that's how that works. Wonderful. Okay, and now we're going to share the hostel trailer. So this is the documentary that we have the Q&A on, which is being rescheduled. So we just wanted to make sure everyone saw the trailer for this as well. And I'll share my screen again.